all to settle it all. We've got a front row seat and all the information you need. The Black Channel is live. Unapologetic, unadulterated, and absolutely uncompromising. Greetings, brothers and sisters from around the world, and welcome back to the home, the haven, the stronghold, and the everlasting superfortress of intelligent black thought. Contrary to the Christmas ham's belief, we are the black media. This is the Black Channel, and I am your host, your brother, your husband, the voice of Black America, the Black Authority, broadcasting to you live from the only historically black college university of higher education and learning in the cosmos. Of course, welcome to join us. And join us you shall, because on tonight's program here, we're just going to jump off into it. Make a long story short, ICE come out, his plan for Black America, which very closely resembled a document that I put out shortly before his came out. Great minds think alike. Anyway, this week, Cube was apparently contacted by Donald Trump's people, claimed they wanted to get information about whatever it is he was doing there. And of course, the Democrat Party's assigned bootlicks, everybody who still thinks they're in the running or jockeying for position, all those people have all of a sudden wanted to jump up and start running interference because they still think there's a White House spokesperson job in it for them. So a number of people are going to be left without a chair when the music stops. Be that as it may, the first person who jumped up and the most loud, who wanted to make sure that they didn't miss anything, was Bowling Ball Martin, who jumped up first and foremost and made it very clear that he was here to carry the water. And he didn't like what he was hearing, and Cube, to his credit, stayed on message. He stayed on code. It's very clear that he was Tory. And so what I want to do for you here is I want to play for you some parts from both of the major interviews they're talking about, one with Roland Martin, one with CNN. So you all can hear just how serious the situation is. And I've told you all for years that if we stayed firm and if we stayed consistent, if we stayed uncompromising, it would be everybody else out there who would come to our side. To do was stay consistent. All we had to do was remain uncompromising, and everybody else would eventually. That's exactly what you're seeing. So I'm going to go ahead and play for you some parts here so you can hear. And the way that Roland sets this up, he just makes it very clear, just in case Miss Hilly is still listening, Roland is still on the team.
Has been a busy 24 hours for ICE. Republicans supporting Trump sent this tweet out yesterday. This went out from Deontay Johnson. So Ice Cube is officially given the to reveal that he has been helping us develop President Trump's groundbreaking Black Trump platform, the Platinum Plan. Katrina Pearson, he was also had this here. Shout out to Ice Cube for his willingness to step up and work with Donald Trump administration to help develop the Platinum Plan. That has caused a lot of people to be very critical of Ice Cube. Many call him a turncoat and all kind of other names. And so as opposed to sitting here having people just talk about it, we said we'll talk to him. He joins us now.
Now, isn't that very interesting? You know, when Umar Johnson calls somebody a coon on Roland's program, he said, we don't talk like that here. But obviously, just so you can be aware, yeah, this is just how serious they are about it. Yeah, he made it clear we're taking off the gloves coming right out of the gated Cube.
Glad to have you back on Roland Martin Unfiltered, Ice Cube. So let's start this way. When they say you worked with them to develop the Platinum Plan, actually mean? What did you do? Who did you talk to?
Well, what they did, they had a plan. Their plan is the platinum plan. My plan is the contract with Black America. So they had their platinum plan, and they saw the contract with Black America that were directed, directly to Black Americans and all minorities, and they asked to speak with us. I always told everybody, as soon as we finish the contract with Black America, or not finish because it's still a document, I told everybody that I was going to meet with both sides, and I don't know why they didn't believe me. It's actually a bipartisan issue. And
now, first of all, there, as you can immediately see, Ice Cube comes out the gate making it very clear to Roland that this is for black, not minorities. So Roland already feels he's in hot water. Roland can already feel the heat. Roland's already taken offense, and it's only going to get worse for him.
We have to talk to people who have the power to make things happen. Now, they asked to speak to me so I can explain some of my of the contract with Black America.
Who is they? Was it Donald Trump?
That's nothing. You all are going to notice this tonight. Whenever y'all hear me imitating Roland and I go, my name is Roland, and no, who? You're going to hear a lot of that tonight. So just get yourselves ready. It's going to be a, you see what it is? One moment. It's going to be a lot of that. So just brace yourselves for it here, okay? Just brace yourselves.
As, pretty much a protected race. So I think I've seen too many people disputing the contract with Black America. Everybody understand that it's needed and it's necessary. So I don't mind anybody in the public sector or in the private using parts of it, asking me about it, asking for me to understand, what am I talking about when it comes to trying to not count us as minorities, but to count us as, pretty much a protected race. And so I think we're being buried under a lot of words like and people of color and things like that. Now, their plan is still their plan. It's not my plan.
There you go. If you want to know what set Roland off, if you want to make in all of these non-descendants of American slaves upset, know what's setting all of them off, that was it right there. What he just said. That was it. He wasn't talking about minority people of color. He is specifically talking about black people and specifically the descendants of American slaves. That right there, at that point right there, Roland is like, nigga, screw it. As Roland adjusts his panties. All right, forget about it. I'm going to go gangster. So just understand, Roland, everybody, if you want to know what there's out, why there's a certain segment and contingent, all of these, Negroes who are mobbed up in the political class, mobbed up with the Democrats, the cocktail party circuit. Ice Cube just said it straight out. This is not for people of color, not for minorities, not for immigrants. You're not going to bury us under any of those. This is for black people and specifically for black people. That's what it is.
Their plan don't go far enough. All of them can be better, but these are just the facts of what happened. This is the Biden campaign basically said, we love 85% of your plan, but we want to talk after the election. That's fine. I'm willing to talk after the election.
Let me tell you what's wrong with that right there. So the Biden campaign said, well, you know what, Ice Cube, we've seen your contract with Black America, which very closely mirrors, as you all know, my plan for reparations explained. And you can go to blackchannelfilms.com and take a look at that. So if you saw Ice Cube's contract for Black, a lot of it mirrors mine. So If you want to know what the Democrats would say if you presented them with my plan in a lot, you can gauge the response with Ice Cube, and the Democrats did what they always do. So for those of you who are wondering if that WikiLeaks document about the Democrats, where the emails got released, where they said their plan for Black Lives Matter was don't agree to anything, don't make any specific promises. If you are confronted by black people demanding things, your response is to be sympathetic and tell them to stand, but you are not to make any specifics or to agree to anything. So Ice Cube presented them with his contract, and the Democrats did what they're always doing. Oh, that looks nice. You know, I think a lot of this is some good stuff in here. Really, really good stuff. Yeah. And we should talk about it after the election. You see, you came to me with what you want, and you've been giving me your vote for the last 70 years, so you go ahead and give it to me one more time. Oh, I'm not going to give you anything. You go ahead and give me your vote one more time, and after the election, after I've gotten what I want, then we'll circle back around, and we may or may not engage in a discussion about it. Did you get that? Can you all imagine that? Can you imagine if you wanted to pay somebody for a house and they told you, hey, why don't you give me the check for the house first and I'll talk to you after, I'll tell you what kind of house you can get after you pay me for it. Could you imagine going to a realtor and doing that? Give me the money for the house first and then we'll discuss if you qualify for it. Give me the money first. Ticket first, and then we'll discuss if our airline actually goes to the city that you want to go to. But understand, black people taught them to treat us this way. The generation taught the politicians that they could treat us this way. That we were just anxious to vote, and that every time black folk walk up, it's always on a wing and a prayer, and it's always some indefinite, amorphous, nondescript, indefinite thing. It's going to be very, very vague. Nobody's really sure what we're voting for, but they're sure for them, you need to vote. And after the election, we'll talk to you after we get voted in. So you notice it's the same game, it's the same procedure. They're not changing up anything. Surely, since their fortunes have taken a turn for the worse in the last 5 years, they've learned their lesson. Hell no. You all always asked me what I thought. You all always asked me what I thought about what I thought they would do if they were put in this situation, and this is what they would do. They're not backing, they're doubling down.
I just think both sides of the aisle need to take this serious.
So what's in their plan that they actually took from yours? Because I've gone through and to be perfectly honest with you, I don't see what's in their plan they released and even mirrors what's in yours.
Well, like I said, both plans between both parties are lacking. So, this is what they did. You have to look at the contract with Black America and see where the overlap is. But the thing that what I try to make them understand is, they have programs, and both parties have programs that are built for minorities and people of color and diversity and urban and these words that don't include us, because they include us, but we only get a small portion
right.
Most of the time of these programs. We have to train all politicians that we are black people, black Americans, most of and I'm specifically talking about the descendants of slavery. And we have to be dealt with, our concerns have to be rectified as that, and
right.
not as a blanket thing with all other minorities. That puts us under 100% of the population here.
There you go. I mean, and understand Roland's going to come unhinged after this, but there it is for black people and specifically the descendants of American slavery. There it is. Now, you all got to understand, Roland has never pressed the Democrats like this. He talked to Hillary Clinton, never pressed her. That's the reason why this jughead Negro, he's a shell, he's a puppet. He's one of them, so whenever he talks to them, the conversation is going to sound just like them. But he didn't press them with these kind of questions. He didn't dig into it and ask for all kinds of specifics. He didn't do any of that. He never does any of that. And you'll also remember last year when Kamala Harris, you all remember I already did the program about this, when Kamala Harris refused to speak to Roland, Roland got all buck last year after we in the new black media knocked her out of the race. Roland wanted to get all buck. Well, you see, Kamala, if you would come on my program, then your people would have had a better chance of reaching the black vote if you would talk to me. So he wanted to take, all of a sudden he could get buck with Kamala Harris after the race was over. But when it was still going on, he didn't say a word. So there's a reason you can't trust a clown like that. You just can't. Now, Roland goes on, and as you always know, Roland's going to always have weird intersectional person on deck. He is always going to have one weirdo intersectionalist on deck. When we're talking issues, Roland is always going to try to detour the train, derail the conversation, and get us to talking about something different. Roland's always good for that. So you shouldn't be surprised to find out that sure enough, Roland had one on deck, and wait till you meet this character.
1,000. And we haven't moved an inch. Educated people and come up with a plan. It all happened after George Floyd was killed. So that's where I've been. Mm-hmm. And have to do it if it was being done. But
actually,
where has this contract been? Since the 60s. Since the 60s, we've had over 7,000. Hello?
No. You're on. Go ahead. I'm listening.
Since
You're on.
The 60s had over 7,000 black people elected in office in high positions country. Over 7,000, and we haven't moved an inch. So don't ask me where have I been. The question is, where the hell are you at?
Well, here's the deal.
For all the folk out there who want to question Q's credentials and where he's at, let me be very, very clear. I'm not happy. Y'all know YouTube is messing with the signal right now. YouTube is messing with the signal. My signal is fine. My internet is fine. Everything on my end is okay. It's YouTube is messing with it because you got to understand we're enemies of the state. So let's just be very clear. There's no problem with the signal right now. There is no difficulty. YouTube is messing with it, but y'all knew this was going to happen tonight. You knew they were going to do it. That tells you it's hitting them where it hurts because they're doing it. So understand, there is no problem with my signal. There is no problem. In any case here, we're going to keep it rolling. So Cube let them know, and all these black politicians who've been getting elected since the 60s, y'all are talking about my plan. Where have these people been? For the last 5 decades, we haven't moved anywhere. Well, they're sitting at the boule parties and the cocktail parties and the Rotary Club with Roland Martin, patting him on the head and telling him a good job for keeping people distracted for yet another election cycle. It shouldn't take a rapper to show up and do this. The folk who got elected should have already been handling this. And since they haven't been handling the business, all of a sudden, they want to start telling you what you need and what you don't need. And of course, Roland is already with suggestions about Ice Cube is too dangerous. So Roland has found a safe Negro for all of you to listen to.
Though I want on that particular co-founder of Black Voters Matter. She also was with the Black Futures Lab. Q, you may not be aware of this. You may be aware. They put out this massive Black Census project. They surveyed, if I'm correct, Alicia, some 30,000 African Americans. They put this whole thing together. How long are they taking? When did y'all release this, Alicia?
We released it in 2019.
So Cube, here was this initiative, and I would love, and again, when we had you on last time, and Reese was talking about
Okay, let me go ahead and show you the person that they're talking to here. This is now you heard. I'm going to roll it back because I want you to listen to this part one more time.
Where the hell are you at?
Well, here's the deal, though. I want to Futures Lab, Black Voters Matter. She also. Though I want on that particular point, I want to bring in Alicia Garza, co-founder of Black Voters Matter. She also was with the Black Futures Lab. Q, you may not be aware of this. You may be aware. They put out this massive Black Census project. I'm correct, Alicia. Some 30.
So supposedly this Alicia Garza and whatever groups she's a part of, supposedly they've got this, that, and the other going on. Supposedly. The only person who knows about them is Roland Martin. That tells you how damn relevant they are. So when Ice Cube actually acquires an audience, do you see what these Negro double agents and bootlicks do? After Ice Cube has done the work of attracting the attention and actually getting an audience, then they try to shoehorn in one of these LGBT intersectionalist immigrant activists. They bring her in, so Miss Alicia Garza. And by the way, I want to show you one more thing here. Alicia Garza actually looks like. Now, this is the way she looked before now. And yes, that is a tattoo on her chest. I don't know if it's the preamble to the Constitution or what, but that's the tattoo on her chest. And this is what she looks like before she was scheduled to be on a panel with Ice Cube. You see what she looked like before now. When it was time to come speak to Ice Cube, all of a sudden she's got the blonde hair going. She's covered up her wig. So just so you all can see what she really looks like on the right. But when it was time to speak for black people's issues, she's got the nerve to sit up here and try to dispute Ice Cube speaking on black people's issues. Ice Cube actually looks like an African. And she looks like a Kenner doll. But just so you be aware here, I want you to be aware of who you are going to be hearing here and what her positions really are. So she's part of a whole bunch of groups that no one ever heard of, no one's ever listened to because they ain't never got a damn thing done.
1,000 African Americans. They put this whole thing together. How long are they taking? When did y'all release this, Alicia?
We released it in 2019.
So Cube, here was this initiative that they put together. We had you on last time, and Reese was talking about the lack of stuff when it comes to black women, and you said, hey, you love to hear from her. I would love for the two of you to actually talk about this because both of you want to really achieve the same thing, and that is achieve things people.
Okay, now did you hear what this bowling ball ass loaf of light bread built like a peach cobbler nigga just said? Now, did you hear what he just said? Did you just see the switch he just did?
30,000 African Americans. They put this whole thing together. When did y'all release this, Alicia?
We released it in 2019.
So Cube, here was this initiative that they put together, and I would love, and again, when we had you on last time, and Reese was talking about the lack of stuff when it comes to black women, and you said, hey, you love to hear from her. I would love for the two of you to actually talk about this because both of you want to really achieve.
You see this fraud? Now, he just said that when she was on last time, she was talking about the lack of stuff for black women. See, you both want the same thing. You want to get things for black people. So he literally, last time she was here, she was talking about the lack of getting stuff for black women. But you both want the same thing. You both want to do things for black people. So just understand there is this constant bait and switch, this constant trick language, this constant intersectionalism, constantly. No, Roland's not going to give that up. He learned it from the Democrats to see if you can get away with that. Did you all catch that? First women, but then tells, and Cube, since you're the one who actually has an audience and she's never gotten one, you both want the same thing for black people. See, this is how we keep getting detoured off into other things. Come in the room and talk about, hey, I'm here to talk about black people. And then next thing you know, the conversation turns to gender, the conversation turns to sexuality, the conversation turns to immigration, turns to LGBT. So all of a sudden, that's what you end up with. That's what you get all of a sudden. Because he wasn't going to let that go.
That is, achieve things for black people. And so, Alicia, go right ahead. If you have a question for Ice Cube, you got a question for Alicia, go ahead.
Hey, Cube, how you doing?
Pretty good.
Good. So, I mean, I guess my first question would be, you know, we're in the midst of an incredible movement moment. Folks are all over the organizing for over 7 years, if not longer, trying to turn Black Lives Matter into a movement that can impact not just protest, but also policy. I did have a chance to read both versions of the contract with Black America, and I'm just curious, are there activists or organizers in this movement that you've been connected to who have been doing some of this legislative advocacy and policy advocacy work?
Yeah, we connected with ADOS, and we helped get a bill passed in California. Governor Gavin Newsom.
Well, nobody's perfect.
Passed AB 3121, which starts the